Okay, let's go into Sevan Bomar, Sevan Bomar. I saw the interview, most of the interview that he did with Osset on Lucid Living TV on YouTube. And I was not impressed, but I couldn't remember where I saw him before in terms of, online. And it came back to me yesterday, and I remember, why I had turned him off. But he came back again, so here he is, and it's time to expose him. He is one of these intentional deceivers. He is a con artist. Uh, these people are helped to get their YouTube channels doing really well, at least pretending to be doing really well in some cases, and still getting paid. That's what they do. And they're hoping to throw in a few lies here and there to people who just take things at face value. So, Sevan Bomar, we're going to keep it real. We're going to say exactly what he is being dishonest about. And then we'll move on to Lucid Living TV in the next video.
The mages at some stage. And but yeah, I began on that pack. On the beginning with a pack of everything on my back. All of us have everything with us, but needing to stop for a moment instead of walking off the cliff and unpack that pack and then start moving on to your second stage of the journey. For me, that was coming to Costa Rica. I'm in Costa Rica right now, and unpacking my my bag was easy here because nobody speaks English, so I didn't have to get many people to communicate with, and I didn't speak Spanish. Nature is is lit. It's on fleek out here, so you're completely submerged in nature, and so that allowed me to go through all the healing processes that's necessary when you have like this gigantic mega mind, because I took a massive download of 60 million years of this existence in the DNA.
Okay, you heard it. 60 million years. He took a massive 60 million years. Let's see if I can go back and play it again. Not too far. That's too far. Whoa. Okay, there we go.
To go through all the healing processes that's necessary when you have like this gigantic mega mind, because I took a massive download of 60 million years of this existence in the DNA. But
in the DNA. So he's talking about himself, right? So how does someone who is able to get 60 million years of information not know, or at least claim that the Earth is round? The Earth is not round. It's only round because there are two domes around it. Okay, that's what stops us from returning to source and ascending higher. So logically, you don't really need to take apart everything someone says. If they have the big story wrong, they're gonna get the details, most of the details wrong. You took in 60 million years. Okay, someone who is thinking about this just purely on the mind level, you may be able to fool. But someone who actually saw with his own eyes, beyond the physical, okay, saw the whole entire planet, and saw the universe as it is, and saw what some people call God, and a lot call Source. How are you going to lie to someone like that? You really can't. It's really difficult. So the world is flat. Okay? It looks like a ball because there are domes around it. And 60 million years of information, you couldn't figure that out. I wonder.
Physical body and the heart and many other parts of the chakra centers beyond the brain needed the necessary repair. And so I went through that environment, and I am in that environment that allowed me to really start putting a complete full spectrum, not only message, but existence together in my life. And so that's what I'm sharing.
Let's skip ahead of
Like,
you. Let's go to 24
And
minutes. 24.
one's thoughts. So
Mhm.
Etc. So that is the pattern of the horn, right? But again, and then of course the term
Okay,
horny,
so-
which means basically a funkendator,
So here they're talking about
someone who is
the
able
horn.
to generate and create a lot of life. But when that turns into this, and then that aside as demons, and then when we look at those cultures, we associate those entities with the people that are in that culture. And the easiest way to see that, and it was funny because I was just looking at this ancient picture, or supposedly ancient picture, because there's a lot of stuff that's recreated and it's made to seem ancient. Like when we look at this, okay, and this is terrible to even see, but we see an underlining theme here. First of all, Saturn is, in this case, it's supposed to be Satan, is black. So he's a darker skin tone, and he's got horns, okay? And this is always the thing to point out, that supposedly everything that's evil has horns. When the hornness of our entire culture is always symbolize fertility. Not only the horns of the fallopian tubes, the horn of plenty or the cornucopia, the phi-based, seed-based geometry that produces a lot of or most of the vegetation that we have, the torsion field. So mathematics, vortexes, wormholes, black holes, all that is the pattern.
Holes, black holes, all those holes are all traps. And yes, not every single being is going to be identified as the same, but
of the horn, right? But again, and then of course the term horny, which means basically a funkendator, someone who is able to generate and create a lot of life. But when that turns into this, and then you can see the easy motif here is that the black people, if you may, are the devils, and then the white people are.
Let's skip to where he's talking about Saturn, because this I think I need to do some investigation on.
They'll be judged, because if you're not at the level of being a judge, now mind you, a judge is actually having the wisdom of Saturn. All of the
A judge is someone having the wisdom of Saturn. Okay, so Saturn is good. All right, that's what he's saying.
Around judge law, okay, that's what we talked about earlier. More importantly, bar, because that is the name for Saturn in the ancient tradition, bar. Okay, and it's because when the enforcer must come through, everything's going to dry out. You're going to be basically put behind bars. And then that's why everybody in the court is wearing those black robes, and they're wearing, all the regalia. They're wearing these squares. They're wearing all this stuff.
Wow, who's falling for this? Close. Serpent, 44 minutes. Let's look at what he said about the serpents.
But then what they'll do is they'll pick back up on that story the next movie. And as you mentioned, in Disney movies, if you count how many movies the mother dies, it's incredible. So you can now get the play that this is really happening. And just like when Koopa is now, he's now got the princess, right? This is to trigger off into some of these, it's basically, I call it snake hating. And this is just overall because...
He says snake hating. Okay, I get it. So the snake is... You'll hear it.
Serpent is a very deep connection in with the womb, the shedding, the divine feminine, the skin, the largest organ in the body, the shining, the rainbow, the colors, all of that is all connected, even from the high sciences, etc. It's all connected into that one being. And so,
all right, so not all snakes are the same. Not all snakes, whether they're reptiles on our planet or reptilians in other dimensions, not all snakes are the same. Okay, so he's inferring to more than just, quote-unquote animals. Not all beings in the universe are the same. That's true. But there are some dark snakes. They are. It, yeah.
So when that becomes the dark being, subconsciously you become the dark being. And then the story starts becoming mythological from there because now you're supposed to find this Prince Charming who's going to save you from this, and that automatically
All right.
places
Can we
you
do one more
into a very vulnerable
detail?
position, even as a child.
One more detail is a fly in my a fruit fly in my face. One more detail about clothes, uh, and then we'll bring it back to the main issues here. 108.
As an apple, a pentagram. So they bit
So
the apple, and then they started feeling
here he's talking about the brain and some other stuff I just forgot.
stimulated in sexual pleasure, but they were innocent at first. That's why they had no clothes on. They were like animals. Like animals will walk around with no clothes on.
He was talking about Adam and Eve walking around with no clothes on because they had eaten the forbidden apple.
Kids walk around with no clothes on, but once they get to this age of knowing, then they start putting on clothes. And so
No, it's not the age of knowing, it's the age of brainwashing. If you've had personal experiences with 60 million, he said, 60 million years of download, I don't, being nude, okay, I think some of the scientists or psychologists, Freud even talked about it. Being nude is a positive spiritual advancement. Personal experience over and over on a daily basis now when I go into the astral world, the other realms. So when you are constantly putting on clothes, you have something to hide. So it's the exact opposite of what he is saying. When people are coming into awareness, knowledge, it's not real knowledge, it's fake knowledge. So when you're born and you take on the worldly's whatever they're telling you, then that's not real knowledge. It's just like it's a manipulation. So it's important to note that nudity, in the sense of one's light, not masking it so everybody can see you for who you are, is the highest of all form of purity in terms of opening up yourself. So I'm going to now conclude this. I'm going to do another video and that should conclude it. This is him talking about fermented food. I hope I didn't delete it. I didn't. Okay, well, I can type it on the computer right now and see what it comes up with. Sevan Bomar on fermented foods. I spelled food wrong, but it worked. Come on.
Hey guys, it's Ivy. Welcome back to my channel.
Okay, so she just said that her name is Ivy. So the person showing this is naturally Ivy. She uploaded it, looks like. And so the title again is Sevan Bomar on fermented food, understanding electric body wellness. So basically this is his take on whether or not we should eat fermented food.
You may know, I just did a video on whether or not we should be drinking apple cider vinegar, specifically for people who have a focus on maintaining an alkaline diet. That is
apple cider vinegar. Hopefully you dilute it with something else and put it in juice. I mean, I don't see anybody drinking that without diluting it. But I know where they're headed with this. Fermented food, right? That's where they're really headed. Trying to stop people from cleansing their bodies and souls.
Sun and the foods that are created and derived from the sun's energy. So Sevan Bomar from Understanding on YouTube just did a live video where he mentioned how fermented foods may not be the best for the body. So I just wanted to share that clip with you. Sevan is a powerhouse.
Okay, so you'll see later that she actually has an alternative, a product that she's selling. Okay, so that's the motive right there for lying. So this Ivy naturally is, she's being a con artist, just basically trying to sell a product. That's all it is. And this guy is also a con artist.
Depth and all things spiritual. He can be a little bit intense, but I think his message is very powerful, and I respect what he
Not
has
powerful
to say,
at
the
all.
way that he is able to deliver his message to the world and the products that he offers. So here's what he had to say.
If you're still experiencing issues with connecting to the field, or what is the field and how can it work for me, it probably means that a cleanse is at hand. Remember, this is not a mental thing only. You do need your mind sound, especially to be able to not be thinking.
Okay, so he's saying that you need to cleanse yourself, but he is against cleansing yourself with food that are actually richer in protein, richer in vitamins and nutrients and probiotics. That's what fermented food is. You can determine how fermented the food is by how long you ferment it. If you don't like it too fermented, you ferment it less. But what it also does is it kills all the disease and germs and bacteria that are not supposed to be there. It takes out the toxins. That's why fermented foods are good, are important. Some people, there's always an exception to the rule where people can't, the stomach can't handle it because they're very toxic. Or I don't know what the conditions are, but your taste buds change. What the? Okay, this thing is popping up ads. Okay, so basically, let's finish hearing what he has to say.
Get into higher frequencies, but the most important thing is even getting to that high frequency initially. So amplification answers these questions, and when you look at the state of your body, the water...
How is this not abstract? So amplification, what the heck is amplification? Amplifying, expanding on what? I mean, you know that we study people like you in college? I observed in classes in general. I'm lucky enough, my business teacher, oh man, this is just too much.
That you're drinking, the food that you're eating, how much fermented food is in there, how much bread and dough and yeast, how much of this dairy, right? Like, and all of this stuff, how much is actually inside the body, all the lactose. Like, if I build an electronic, I can't use any of that. The body's electric.
The body is electric, all right, understandable. But if you built an electronic, that's a separate matter, because that's really, really physical. Our bodies are electric, but they're a different type of electricity. So don't get it twisted.
The muscles and the fibers and the tissues and the atoms, all that stuff is high-end stuff. You understand your own inner alchemy, and we've taught a lot about that. There's charts on the secret energy also to help you direct.
Anyway, I think that's enough. He's done enough damage. We have to be careful of people like these because they're influencing the whole entire, not just this realm, but other realms as well. And, well, good luck on your journey.